Hello, everyone, and here we are with Robert Dilts from Paris, and we have two very interesting questions by our tradition to ask Robert some interesting questions on our projects. And we have tomorrow second module of Sleight of Mouth starting, the advanced Sleight of Mouth. So these are questions from our readers, viewers, and participants. We had kind of competition between questions, and these are two who got more votes.
Okay.
So, do you have any personal strategies for creating good relationships with person? So can you like name five main strategies for creating good relationships?
Yes, sure. I mean, obviously, one of the first ones is it's a foundation of NLP, which is about mirroring and mirroring body language, but also mirroring by picking up key words, etc. And from the time I was a little boy, we have home movies. When there's home movies of me, like 3 years old, I'm looking at my brothers or whatever, and I'm mirroring everybody. So that's something that's been natural for me my whole life, is that so it's a way of kind of creating resonance. As I got older and I've been, developing and learning NLP, of course, there's others. One is it's not just about mirroring body language or mirroring tone of voice, but about identifying key beliefs, values, and then aligning or having some kind of values matching. That's another way to connect with people. And if you think about it in a certain way, any time you're matching something at some level of this pyramid, you're acting like somebody, you're thinking like somebody, you're taking on belief, that's going to be helpful. Certainly, then a third is this whole idea in NLP of second position. So, not just sort of looking at somebody like they're over there, but being able to put yourself in their shoes. But I think probably, the most important part of relationship is connection. Because you can do all these things that I was just talking about, but not really have some sense of actual connection, which is not just a physical thing. It's really where there's some quality of resonance. So for me, like even right now with you and with Sergey and our audiences, there's always for me this sense of a feeling of a connection, and it's difficult to put into some kind of concrete sense. It's a feeling. It's like imagining. I mean, maybe to make a metaphor, it's like there's some kind of a light attaching from heart to heart, and I think that's where you're really creating a powerful relationship. And then I think maybe the fifth thing is this whole notion of a field. That field is, we say when a field happens, when 1 + 1 makes more than 2, it makes 3. There's a third thing, kind of like hydrogen and oxygen make water. Water is the relationship. Water is something more than the hydrogen or oxygen, but it can't exist without them. And so for me, there's this sense of a co-creating a field together. So those would be kind of starting from the most basic, kind of most behavioral, you create relationship by just tuning your behavior, tuning your actions, your words, but then you're always going a little bit more deep than that. You're finding that resonance, getting some kind of second position, working on the sense of connection. And then from that connection, something emerges, something magical emerges. So those would be my answers.
Thank you. That really interesting description of those strategies. Started to think about what about workshop on this topic.
Yeah. Be interesting. Oh, some years ago, there was a guy in Canada who was modeling me, and it was interesting. It's kind of, I was working with people, and he was modeling how I was doing, and some of these kind of things were coming out because there was, how do you make rapport with somebody? And anyway, so maybe we could do some kind of a mini workshop or a webinar or something.
Yeah, something like that would be, I think, interesting to explore.
Yes. Yeah.
Kind of roots, and beyond that, what's you developed, of course.
Yes.
I wanted also to ask a second question.
Yes.
The 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 second percent of votes was for the question, how can you find what to do in your life? Like,
Well,
very
you know,
simple question.
yes, but actually, it's I think it's a very key question. It's, a lot of it, frankly, is what the success factor modeling is about, especially, SFM1, because you rather than start with what do I do in my life, and actually in the advanced, in this next module of the advanced Sleight of Mouth, we're going to be kind of looking at that very question with somebody like Oprah Winfrey. And what happens is, there, rather than thinking, what do I do with my life, I want to first start with, what do I love to do? What's my passion? And so that passion is always going to be the beginning. So rather than try to think, well, what is my purpose in life? We actually want to start with, what do I love to do? What brings me alive? What brings me energy? And I like to say that this passion it's like a flame, right? It's like the flame of a candle or something. Because the flame, what does that flame do? It gives you the possibility to actually see, it generates light, but it also generates warmth. That's generating energy. And so we say, then once I have that candle, I can start to see, well, I can look ahead, and then I can say, oh, that's the vision of what could be different if I looked at the world through my passion. And just even what we were talking about, I have a passion for connecting with people, connecting ideas. I mean, our advanced sleight of mouth, we're connecting sleight of mouth patterns with strategies of genius, with these Apollo's patterns, these different strategies. And so I love connecting things. And if you look at something and you say, what if there was more connection? It starts to give you a vision. So if you take what you love and you try to look and see, what if there was more of that in the future, not just for me, but for other people, that's where you start to get a vision. Then the question can become, so now what do I do? Then what is, if I have my passion and I see this vision, then I can start to think, well, what is it that I could actually do? And this, though, is where another piece comes in, which is, you combine your passion with what we like to call your superpower, or your area of excellence. And each of us has a kind of a superpower. And what we mean by a superpower is, it's the metaphor of a superpower is, you're sort of born with it. You don't have to learn it at school. The paradox of your superpower is, you usually don't recognize it. You usually don't think very much of it, just because it's so natural for you. You just do it. But it's where other people become, impressed with what you do, or they're amazed by what you do, and you just think, well, that's nothing. So knowing some of these places of our area of excellence, that's then, you're then combining what I love with what I'm good at, and then what I want to see in the future. And now you start to actually, these pieces start coming together. But and that's kind of, again, the pathway that we follow with the strategies, the success factor modeling. So I think that's the key is, I mean, just first realizing it doesn't necessarily start with doing. It starts with, what is it that gives me energy? And then final thing is, once you have this candle, your candle is lit, you can light other candles with it. And the thing that the Buddha pointed out about that is, I could light 1,000 candles with my candle and it doesn't diminish my candle at all. I mean, my candle just, I can, my candle would burn the same whether I lit anyone else's candle or not, So the more other candles I can light, then the more that's going out. So that's the other thing, is what do we do? I mean, on a very metaphorical level, what do we do with our life? Light candles. Light as many candles as you can from your candle. But that means I've got to know, I got to get that light, I've got to get it lit, and then I can start through whatever I'm doing. It could be through writing or doing seminars, or just through talking one-on-one, or all these many things that we can do. We are lighting other candles from our candle. So I think that's the kind of the metaphorical answer is, find your flame, get it to bright as you can, use it to see what you want, and then start lighting other candles.
Wow.
So,
Thank you, Robert.
you're
Wow.
welcome. Those are great questions. I like that. These are the upvoted questions.
Thank you for bringing so much light into the world.
That's my pleasure. That's again, that's the thing. It's a pleasure, because when you love doing it, then. So, thank you, Oksana.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. I think it's going to be a really interesting time. It's going to be, it's always nice when people have been through the first module, because we can sort of get started, right away with the second. And I'm sure it's such a great group of people. So
I'm sure it's gonna be an amazing journey.
yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Yep. See you. I guess it'll still be my morning, but I guess it's noon your time tomorrow.
Yeah.
So. Actually, I'll come on a half an hour earlier for the first. Yeah. Okay. All right.
See you. Bye. Thank you very much. Very interesting.
Okay. Bye for now.
Bye.